We're very excited that tonight, and this is a delegation that you're going to be hearing from, we're helping launch a new national organization that will amplify the struggle of immigrants, migrants, refugees everywhere. And it's in its very name, FIRE, Fight for Immigrant, Migrants, Refugees Everywhere, FIRE. And that's a tremendous step. And we believe that in supporting these movements by connecting all the issues facing workers here, that is really the way to build the greatest unity, whether it's police terrorism against communities of color, mass incarceration, sexism, ableism, exploitation. We want to build a broad movement that is going to take direct action against the horrific crimes of ICE and the Border Patrol. And so the first step in doing this is this delegation of FIRE, of activists who are on the border today, and we're going to be hearing from them. Their role is really mobilizing activists, and primarily young LGBTQ, people of color, and working class organizers, to travel to the border and to learn more about the struggle there. And they're from Brownsville, Texas, and they're going to support actions, take part in eyewitness tours, and then come back and really help to organize a resistance right here. But first, to learn about conditions on the border, and they're also going to be publishing reports and findings and so on. Now, just to say who's participating on this delegation, and we're enormously proud that we were able to gather this very short notice. There's Teresa Gutierrez from here in New York, and Richard Kasawi. There's Gloria Ruback from Houston, John Parker from LA, Joe Piet and Steph from Philadelphia, Nat from Boston, Liz from Atlanta, Hugh and Gabby from Durham, and Rahui from San Diego. So that's the delegation. That's who we're going to be hearing from. I don't want to take more than another minute to say both how proud we are that they're there, and we're going to hear about FIRE and the conditions on the border now.
Well, thank you, Sarah. I'm Gloria from Houston, and we're all here just a few miles from the Mexican border. Okay. Today, we participated in a demonstration. So we went to a demonstration today called Families Belong Together Rally at the border. We were down in Brownsville, Texas, which is at the very tip of the state of Texas on the border. It was a huge demonstration, at least by Texas standards. There was, I'm sure, at least 1,000 people there. Buses came from Houston, San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, and Laredo, besides people that live down here in the Rio Grande Valley. Some of the groups that sponsored the demonstration today were kind of diverse. I mean, it was groups like United We Dream, Planned Parenthood, an organization called LUPE, La Unión del Pueblo Entero, the South Texas Civil Rights Project, Fuerza del Valle, Texas Organizing Project, Texas Civil Rights Project, and the Children's Defense Fund. So there was a wide variety of people participating. What our delegation is doing this week, tonight we're getting ready to go to a vigil for the Guatemalan woman who was murdered, Claudia Patricia Gomez Gonzalez, in San Juan, which is about 4 miles from where we are. In the morning, we'll be speaking at the Westlaco Community College at a class that a professor who's a friend of the party invited us to his class to speak. Saturday, of course, there's going to be, like there is everywhere, demonstrations. There'll be two down here that we know of, one in McAllen and one in Brownsville. The other thing we want to do is take our delegation to the South Texas Human Rights Center in Falfurrias, Texas, which is right where the Border Patrol has the checkpoint. And what happens when migrants are coming across the border, they know where that checkpoint is, so they go inland to go around it. And what happens every year is that probably hundreds of people die on these ranches because of the heat. And until activists from Houston opened the South Texas Human Rights Center, the ranchers who would find these dead bodies or bones or whatever on their property would throw them in a plastic trash bag, and then the county would put them in a cemetery, not taking any information on what they were wearing, tattoos, whatever, and not taking DNA. We found out that was illegal. So we are now we have forced them, every time a body is found, they have to turn it over to the sheriff's office. It has to be documented. DNA is taken. And we're working with forensic anthropologists at Southwest Texas University in San Marcos, where they are trying to match up the remains with families, wherever they may be. And this is really important because families look forever to find out why they haven't heard from their missing loved one, what happened to them after they crossed the border. So this is really important, even if the person has died, that the family knows what has happened to them. So I guess that's about it. So, John Harper.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
No, I can't.
so can you hear me okay? Yeah. Okay. So this was a great experience. And when we were over there, I was talking to one of a freelance journalist who had mentioned that this area of the valley experiences the highest homelessness and unemployment. And this is the areas where some of the first maquiladoras over the border had started here. So there's a long history of the repression. And you can tell by people's anger, people are fed up. There's a lot of humidity and heat in the air, but it was bad, it was uncomfortable, but that humidity was amplified by the heat of the anger and the rage of people who were fed up with this situation and the shocking things that have come to light. Things that have, some of the separations that have gone on in the previous administration and things, but they're coming to light more and they seem to be amplified more. And folks are not going to be willing to have the same old solutions. There's a lot of talk about at the demonstration about you need to go and you need to vote and things like that. And a lot of times, sometimes the organizers are steering things in that direction. But I think included in these demonstrations are a lot of people who aren't going to just accept that. And right now, the Democrats are being exposed, because everyone's calling for the abolishment of ICE. And I think one of the reasons that our banner was so popular, we were getting a lot of media was looking at our banner, a lot of people were taking pictures of our banner, and I think one of the reasons it's so popular because it looks like it's militant, and the abolishment of ICE is going to be one of the major things that FIRE is going to be trying to prosecute. And already we have some of the Democrats kind of backpedaling and saying, well, maybe we just need to reform immigration and things like that. And I don't think people are going to accept that. And so I think it's really important that FIRE brings on the fire. And this is a great start to have it here. And people know that the migration and immigration and the cause of it is the U.S. wars and economic and military and economic wars in Latin America. They know the wars in Libya and Iraq and Syria cause this great worldwide refugee crisis. And so it's tied up in the imperialist wars, it's tied up in the brutality against black people and brown people in the streets by the police. And in fact, one of the chants was what was it? No racist police.
No justice, no
no
peace,
justice,
no
no
racist
peace,
police.
no racist, no justice, no peace, no racist police. You know, they made a concerted effort to link the struggle of the Black and brown community against police as well. So, just really excited to be here and be more after that. Okay, I'll go back.
Okay, I was next.
Hold on.
I
Julie.
don't have much to say that wasn't already just said, honestly. This is my first time on a trip like this, and my first day here. Gloria and John summarized the rally that
What is her name?
Yeah.
Sorry, the screen was acting up. I thought it was going to die for a second. I was impressed by some of the people that were out at the demo today. That group, Lupe, they seemed pretty, like they had pretty good politics and whatnot. There were a lot of liberals there, but it was heartening how well people responded to the banner, and there were definitely some people out there with more militant politics, and we got a couple of names on the sign-up sheet. John was going around with the clipboard recruiting people. I think we did really well. I think we represented the party and Fire very well. I think it was great visibility. There were tons of cameras there. I think we can be proud of how the demo went today and how we did it. Other than that, though, I don't know what to say. I don't know. Is there
Great. This is Steph from the Philadelphia branch. A lot of my thoughts have also already been spoken, but this is the first national work I've done with the party. I mean, outside of Philadelphia, and it was a very striking event today. I mean, it was a very large rally. I believe we reported it as being thousands. It was a very impressive crowd, and it was striking because of the leadership, the organization leadership was definitely trying to keep things in maybe a more liberal, moderate direction. I mean, a lot of the speakers were really emphasizing voting and stuff like that. But, despite a lot of that more moderacy, it was really striking once the momentum of the people was moving, and once the crowd really kind of had control of the situation, just how powerful people's politics were, how militant people were, and just the strength of that was so overpowering against kind of attempts to rein it in. And it was really kind of a striking overture for launching Fire and really doubling down on this struggle, because it shows that conditions are in place, that people want to abolish ICE, people want to seriously prosecute the crimes that are being committed against immigrants and migrants, and I thought it was a really, really promising rally, and I am eager for the rest of this weekend to keep getting a sense for what conditions are like here and what we're doing to people to build nationwide.
Thanks, Steph. I wanted to describe what happened today at the rally itself. First, there was a rally with a number of speakers. Then the marchers split up in two and converged on the courthouse, where inside they were hearing, deportation cases of migrants. So the plan was to send some people in, but the crowd just surged to the doors of the building, which the organizers, the ACLU, didn't like, and many of the ACLU people said, you gotta back up, doing the work of the cops, because the ACLU people were more pushy and trying to get people back away from the doors. So that's the type of, I mean, it was awesome that the ACLU did this, and it's the first time, I believe, ACLU has ever organized in this area these buses to an event. You know, buses from a number of cities, Dallas and Houston, Laredo. Did you already say?
San Antonio, yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
So that was the ACLU. In Philadelphia, the ACLU has never done such a thing that I'm aware of. So it was significant, but at the same time, they're lawyers, and they treated the people as if, you know, just listen to us. But the people really wanted to rush the courthouse. So it was good we were there. A lot of people saw our banner. For the next event, we're going to have flyers. We didn't have flyers today. So we'll be getting better at this, and we'll be able to we have a little experience now talking to people. So we'll be able to be better organizers as we get used to how to word things. There were some workers' organizations there. Gloria mentioned, I always forget the name of it.
Or Sunday.
Yeah. Which is sort of like a workers' center.
Yeah.
And then there was the teachers' union was there in force. We said they had 5 or 6 people there, and also said that last week they organized their own rally. So that's hopefully more unions and more workers. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So that's a good development, because many unions only are concerned with their wages and benefits and don't get involved in community issues. So this is a good development. But I didn't want this to go by without. Yesterday, a few of us went to an execution of Danny Bible, who was executed yesterday. I don't think we should just let that pass by without a moment of silence.
Is that it?
Okay, comments. It's my turn to close, and I hope that comments have questions or comments for us. We would love to hear it. What I wanted to stress is how the experience that we had today, as so many of the comments have pointed out, and all of us feel strongly about, is that this attempt to intervene in the class struggle via supporting the migrants that are under attack is not only so important for the party to do, it's so important for us not to leave this issue at the hands of the liberals. We don't want to fight the liberals. You know, they're doing some work that's important. They're saving lives. They're taking cases. You know, we don't want to fight them. You know, what we do want to do is influence the movement and not let all the movement be influenced by their politics. As comments have pointed out, some of the speakers today gave very militant talks, you know, and every time that a militant comment was made about fighting back, about taking it to the next level, you know, got great applause, but also got great applauses when they said, let's register to vote, let's vote in November. And this was a running theme into today's march, and it will be a running theme at many of the demonstrations over the weekend, and we don't want to get into it with them. You know, what we do want to do is, and especially after a DSA member, a Latinx woman, wins and topples a Democratic establishment machine from Queens, New York, no less, they're going to be riding high on this momentum. What FIRE needs to do is be the left flank of the movement. And we know that there are hundreds of thousands, at least tens of thousands of people very angry and fed up for the Democratic Party machine. There are so many people that know that the November elections is absolutely nothing to set their sights for. Obama was a Maine Democratic Party official and was a deporter-in-chief, and all the other reasons why we know that they still have to struggle. What FIRE can do is be the left flank of this movement, and I think it really speaks to the potential. If here in the Valley, which is a conservative place, it's hard to fight back, it's very reactionary, the Border Patrol, the police are all over the place. If here you can come to a demonstration and you can see people having literature that is of the nature of exposing the fascist character of Trump, then we know that there's momentum for this. And we actually have to elevate the issue of fascism more. Republicans themselves are worried about Trump. And as comments know, I don't say that name. We refer to him, or I refer to that person as pendejo, not as his name. And even Republicans are talking about pendejos, fascist characteristics, and it's alarming. And we should elevate it in our literature. Be thoughtful. We don't want to scare people. We don't want to fearmonger, but we do want to politically address what's going on in this wing, that a white supremacist, racist, wannabe Nazi is at the head of the storm, and we want to take this on. So I think that FIRE has a lot of potential, and we're going to be assessing after this what to do, not only from our trip in the Valley, but also from all the participation of the demonstrations throughout the weekend. And we need to be aggressive and assertive, and not only just getting out our literature, but we also have to be talking to people. And I don't think it's an isolated incident at all that John was able to get names. Our banner was very popular, as comments have noted. We can be the left flank of this movement, and I think that one of the things that's very important as we assess what the next steps are, I really wanted to propose to the party that we really continue to push the momentum that exists about abolishing ICE, and that we fill the vacuum of linking the movement to abolish ICE with the movement to abolish the police. I think that this would make a tremendous contribution to the class struggle. And we should be the ones that raise Joanna Fernandez, who is the trans sister who was killed, the trans sister who came from the caravan from Mexico that Trump highlighted, who was put into detention and died within days. We want to highlight her case, and we want to link her case to that of Antoine Jones. And I think that FIRE should equally push, close the detention centers and close the prisons, and this would be a real contribution to the movement, I think. It could really set us apart, because we're really the only ones that can do this in a genuine way, in a real way, not a fake way, not a phony way, etc. So I think these are the kinds of things that the party should be thinking about in the coming days. But I just want to end with this, that the Valley experience in just one day shows us how far we can go with FIRE. That this can be a real mass unit that attracts independents and individuals that are looking for something more than supporting just ACLU or liberal efforts or get out the vote efforts, that want more. And there are a lot of people who want that. And we should be recruiting these people into this mass organization. From there, we can also recruit into the party in large numbers. I can't emphasize enough how much we think, all of us here think the potential is, just from being one day in the Valley. So we look forward to your questions and comments.
Like how many cops there were? Was there in riot gear?
Yeah, I mean, there were just a few what seemed to be local cops at the event, but I mean, being the ACLU, I don't think the state felt the need for a strong kind of regulating force at the event.
It seemed like it was almost like they maybe had gotten permits or something for the thing, because there was a group that was allowed to go into the inn and come out, but it seemed pretty organized. But could I make a comment about the other thing, the question about the Janus and Supreme Court decision? Just reminds me, this is a period of reaction that we're in right now. And, they also started, I think it was in Michigan, where they said that they're going to try to abolish time and a half. So it's just like all these things compounded at the same time, and it reminds me of the Watts riots and the riots in Newark, and when they're compounding so many assaults, and after a while, this takes one little thing to break the camel's back, and then all of a sudden, and I think that's the kind of period we're in right now. They keep poking the bear, and people are, they keep poking us, and people are telling them, stop messing with me. The teachers are telling them, stop messing with me, or we're going to strike. And we were talking to some teachers at the demonstration today from AFT, I think they were, and they were organizing. Teachers hadn't been organized in the area, and now they're starting a union. So they're going to keep on poking, and it's a great time to be fighting back.